now tuned into the greatest.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Sage Bimi podcast. I'll be your host for today, Sage Bimi, and we are back on Karma, and today we'll be talking about Sutra 4. So how should I start this? I'll just start with this. However profound it is, everything that comes from memory spells karmic bondage. So, in the book, Sadhguru is talking about anything that deals with memory. If you're talking about something in the past, something that you have acquired, it's dealing with bondage. So, previous chapters we looked at 8 membranes of memory, and 4 of the memories were collective and 4 were individual. If you find yourself overwhelmed by classifications that follow, don't get disheartened. So he basically said the reason why he included all these different classification is so that you can understand the intellectual precision and sophistication in which yogis and sages were capable of. So even if you simply read the categories without making attempt to remember them, you will have a deeper and richer understanding of the subject. The workings of karma are complex, but classification is one simple one. Repeated myself. So let's get deep into the consequences of karma or categories. Karma is consequence. Before every individual is one vast storehouse of karma, like there's just this one big karma on all of us. So Sadhguru called this accumulated karma in Sanskrit termed as sanchita. So we'll be simply calling it accumulated karma. That's the whole warehouse. This is like a great warehouse in which all 8 types of memory are contained. There's elemental, atomic, evolutionary, genetic, individual, sensory, articulate and inarticulate. So basically every human carries this type of karma. So in this vast storehouse of karma, there's an important dimension called allotted karma. What is allotted karma? Well, let's get into it. Knowing allotted karma, it contains like 2 aspects. One is accountable karma, which is in the present. So let's see what accountable karma is. From the vast warehouse of Sanchita, you actually find this force. This force surfaces up and it demands you to take action. This is allotted karma. No matter who or what you are, you'll be required to take action. Every human has this allotment of karma for a whole lifetime. You see, it's called Praradha karma. I hope I said that right. So, everyone's current life, there's a distinct amount of memory playing itself. The allotment varies from person to person. For each person, energy works differently. Each person has a different percentage of energy dedicated to physical activities, a different percentage allocated to, let's say, emotional activities, percentage allocated to energy activities, percentage which is allocated to meditativeness, which also means inner stillness. Yeah, there's a different energy allocated to each and every one of these. So but early differences are determined by the nature of the child's allotted karmic activities. Now, every spiritual process is essentially about digging into the storehouse of accumulated karma. That's the basis of spirituality. He goes ahead and says that spiritual practitioners are in a hurry to take different lifetimes of karma and work them all out in one lifetime. Imagine taking like 5 or 10 or 15 lifetimes, working them in this one lifetime. That's basically the journey of a spiritual seeker. You find that the spiritual journey teaches them not to accumulate any new karma, which limits the consequences of their allotted karma, the consequences of their activities. This means that they work lots and lots of karma at great volumes with great speeds. And you ask, how do you feel when you worked out your allotted karma? Usually, life grows more relaxed, less reactive, less compulsive. Strong likes and dislikes, whether you about people, places, food, work, or politics, begin to weaken. Comfort zone become less important. Initially, you'll find you want to slow and live quietly, like you slow down and live like alone or something. Yeah, that's how initially it is. But after, you choose to engage with the world again, but this time will be wonderfully in a conscious way. Yeah, your life will be full of choices when you've worked out your allotted karma. Then the second one, because initially we had said there are two. So the other one is actionable karma in the present. He calls it kriya manaya karma, or karma that compels outward action. You have a baby. You are compelled to do two things. One is either you take care of the baby. The other is either you throw the baby away or give the baby out for adoption. You are compelled to choose to do one thing. It's a compulsion. That's just it. Yeah? That's actionable karma. And actionable karma is in the present. Allotted karma, already said what it is. So let's finish up. Karma in the present is significant because it creates consequence in the future. Because without doing something right now, there will be no results in the future. You can't see any result in the future. When someone triggers, compels action, how conscious you perform that action becomes important. If you do it unconsciously, it will generate enormous amount of karma. And that is how karma perpetuates itself. That's how karma unfolds. That's how you see karma has come in and appeared. The human population as an example. The moment two people act, you have consequence. Yeah, we gave an example of the baby. Yeah? That's how you see karma unfolding itself. It's compulsory. You can alter your future simply by performing the right kind of action in the present. You can transform your future without any spiritual process, without any elevation in consciousness. When you perform the right actions today, a positive future is assured. Like, you're going to school to do what? To study. If you study consciously, then most probably you'll graduate because you're immersed in the moment. But if you're doing it unconsciously, that's another thing. You get. I hope we are not losing anyone. So, if you become meditative, you go a step further. Every spiritual tradition has encountered people, has encouraged people to meditate for this reason. Meditation creates positive karma. You stop breeding karma altogether, like there's no new karma because you've started meditating. In all spiritual traditions, you become ascetic, meaning just this, you stop breeding karma consequence. Like for you, you don't have consequences dealing with karma. So he went ahead and offered a couple of examples. One, he took if you are enjoying a $4 coffee, yeah, it doesn't matter if you have 4 billion in the bank. If you're broke, it doesn't matter where you stand. What matters is you are right there, then enjoying that $4 coffee. He says that he's offered a couple of books. He plays golf. He does yoga, hence he's considered a yogi. I put a quote there. And he said that because he plays golf, it doesn't make him a golfer. Because he writes books, that is not what makes him to be an author. Because he does yoga, that does not make him a yogi. What does he mean by this? Like, he performs the action from a point of inner being. Like, I'm not doing this activity because I'm a billionaire. I'm not doing this activity because I am a yogi. The yogi is within me. It comes out. It just shows itself. I am a businessman, yes. I'm not doing business because I'm a businessman. inside me it's just business. So when I talk, whatever I do, it just shows that this guy is a businessman. Like this guy is social, because within him he socializes. That's just within him, yeah. That's what he's saying. He does not operate from this point unconsciously. He knows what he's doing because it comes out from within him, and he embraces it. So let me just read a portion from the book itself. As a guru, when I am conducting a spiritual program, I am in a particular mode. If I embrace everyone before me with tears of joy and inclusiveness, it will not breed any karmic consequence. But if I do the same thing only with one person whom I know well, if I choose to meet another gaze, I will always pick a totally unknown face. As soon as you focus on someone you know and talk to them, it can turn into an entangling process. It will breed consequence for them, for me, and for the entire situation. However, if I am developing a project, I do, of course, talk to intimate groups of people. I know this will not breed any entangling consequences from them, because what we are evolving is not about them or me, but about a larger vision. This is not entanglement because it is an all-inclusive involvement. There's nothing selective about that. So, how do you handle your actionable karma? Which this is like mostly the most important. So, you personally may think that you're being spiritual, but you may simply be spiraling into entanglements. Like you're walking into entanglement, but you think you're being spiritual. So he just simplified how you could classify karma in, like, I think 3 steps, yeah. So he went ahead and said you could see the unconscious mind as accumulated karma, sanchita, like all of it, yeah? The subconscious mind as the allotted karma, prarabdha, and your conscious mind as the actionable karma, the present, kriyamana. It's not entirely like accurate, but you can like grasp the idea when you put it that way, yeah? So when we come to the other aspect of allotted karma, the actionable karma in the future, he calls it agami karma. Your unconscious actions today will lead to the consequence of your compelled actions tomorrow or a later year, or some will say even a lifetime later. So whatever it is that you do, it drives you to a point of action. He gave an example. If you borrow from the bank or you have a mortgage, The karma of tomorrow is action too. You have to pay the bank. You have to repay that mortgage. If you have a child, you'll be committing yourself to like 20 years and make sure this child can support itself, can get up on the feet, support itself, yeah? A simple action brings a lot of consequences. So, this is what basically brings to the Indian spiritual tradition, what this Indian spiritual traditions sees as the cycle of birth and death. It makes you return to an embodied state time and time again in order to work the karmic inheritance. So, if you find the idea of future lifetimes problematic, do not be distracted by it in any stage, nor is it to an understanding of karma. Is the true yogi. For the true yogi, there is one life. Yesterday you may have been dressed in one way, and today you're dressed in another way. Life, however, is unchanged. If you handle your actionable karma in the present consciously, you will not breed any compulsive actionable karma in the future. That's the key to handling memory. But there's nothing wrong with having a bank loan, and there's nothing wrong with having a mortgage or a family. The more complex your karmic memory is, the more varied and interesting your life becomes. Hence, it's important of eliminating all manner of unconscious karma. You do not want to accumulate any karma that will compel you to act compulsively in the future. So, for him, he didn't choose to favor any, just took it all and moved, worked the karma. The karmic trap is always in the choosing. This is really cool. We are coming to round up. Choice is a great human gift. Freedom is a great human possibility. But instead of choosing inclusivity, most human beings choose selectivity. Choose selectively, sorry. Like, most choose on the basis of compulsive likes and dislikes, on the basis of attraction and aversion. But when your involvement is absolute, like you are immersed, it doesn't mean you feel like it or you dislike it. You should just do it, whatever it is. Be it meeting new people, be it studying, be it working, like going to the shamba and stuff. If you just choose to be absolute inclusive, you are operating out of past memory. This means there is no compulsion, no consequences, no entanglement, no choices, no friend, no foe. Whether you perform an actionable karma in the present like this, you breed no actionable karma in future whatsoever. On the other hand, if you choose to involve yourself selectively, the consequence will live with you. You breed more memory, whether physical, emotional, or intellectual. You are creating karma that will compel you into a situation where you have to act in the future. Sidetrack. I thought about this. Like yesterday, I took my nephew to like play FIFA. Yeah? It was actually fun in a way. Yeah? Something that happened I didn't expect. So we were there playing FIFA. Then these two guys came. They were actually drinking, like having that let go time. So this guy, we started talking about PlayStation games. We talked about Uncharted. I mentioned Last of Us. Then this guy was completely hooked. Then I chose to talk to him specifically about games, while I was talking to the other about how football has been operating, the basics of the different clubs and stuff. So I favored this guy to talk about the gaming aspect more than I talked to the other one about football. And while we were leaving, this guy felt compelled to, like, as in, he felt like he had a connection with it. Like there was this entanglement between him and me. Like even in his face, it lit up like, I know you. I'm completely like, how should I say this? Putting the words in a different way. That's not what actually, but I hope you get what I'm trying to say. Like there was a bondage there. Like he felt like there was a link between me and him, but I didn't like choose it consciously. It just happened unconsciously from point of my memory. Whether he meets a stranger, this is Sadhguru, a friend, his intention remain the same. His involvement is total. He may communicate and act differently, but internally he remains the same. His way of being is unchanged. Whether he does something relevant to the situation and the person, he breeds no karma. Here's the central problem. Selective involvement leads to suffering and karma. Detachment leads to lifelessness. But involvement may not come from a place of memory. It can be conscious. For most people, involvement springs from memory and compulsive. Once memory enters, action enslaves. Without memory, however, you can operate consciously when your action is sullied by the past impressions, is liberating. So, what are your takeouts from this? There's inner stillness. When you have inner stillness, I'm going to dumb it down, like really dumb it down from what he said. Inner stillness is basically about how should I say? It's like within you. You'll have thoughts, like different thoughts. You'll have thoughts about what am I going to eat today. I'm going to eat breakfast. That's sausages. After eating sausages, I'm thinking about lunch. I don't like chips, so I'll go have more chemo. And then you're like, what if I don't like that more chemo? Then it's better if I have ugali. You keep on thinking about this, whatever it is you're going to eat, then you add on, like your mind keeps on building onto something else. So if you have inner stillness, you'll be able to act in a place where you're conscious about anything and everything. Your involvement will be complete on it. Not like when you're reading, you have music playing in the background. You're thinking about something else and you're also reading. Like your mind is not there. How would you expect to understand whatever it is that you're reading? I hope you understand where I'm coming from. So once within you, you get to a point where you can shut up and listen, or shut up and watch your actions and watch other people's actions and act from a point of conscious actions where you're working your karma. You'll have a lot to do. But that's all for today, folks. I'll see you in the next episode, where we'll be talking about from being to doing to having.